she acts that way.
Yes.
But in reality, she really isn't.
Yeah, she tries to be that way. She tries to be the adult, but she's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are several.
Because she goes around acting like she is the adult and blah blah blah, but she never gets to be one.
I mean, it goes over and over. There's like several things that say that about her. I'm trying to find one. Here we go. One time Diana was absorbed deep in thought and here. She was the prettiest, the most mature of the aristocrats. She wanted so much to be an adult, and yet she was also so afraid of growing up too fast.
Mm-hmm.
So she was kind of just caught in the middle. Really.
Then there's the whole Mermaid Princess chapter, which actually is centered on Diana.
Mm-hmm.
That one is centered on Diana, and people will argue that it's about Clara, but it's not. That chapter is not about Clara. There's no way that chapter is about Clara, because you don't have enough depth in Clara's character to know.
I don't want to look at that because I think I have an interpretation for that book that we've been so having problems with actually interpreting. I think I got one. A long time ago, there was a mermaid princess who fell in love with a human prince, but for years her love went unrequited. Before long, she was old and decrepit, all alone. Even on the day to her death, the poor princess of the Sea Kingdom, who would ever want to be an ugly woman like her? Bear with me here. The human prince is growing up. Adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
Love being unrequited is her fear to grow up. Before long, it's too late, and she dies. She gets killed by a stray dog. It's very, very out there, but that's about the best interpretation I could give it.
But maybe it's also just her fear, her need to grow up, but also her fear to grow up.
Yeah, that's what it basically just said.
But not just ending when she doesn't know that she's gonna die, but it's her fear of growing up as well as.
Well, I mean, all alone even on the date of her death. Because Diana is technically alone. She doesn't care about anyone in that orphanage. Not really.
Mm-hmm.
Why would she?
Actually, that does make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
That's my guess.
Trying to look more through this chapter because there's another part.
I know there's another thing, and they mentioned Diana one other place. I think it's the dormitory.
I'm actually looking through the chapter.
Yeah, here we go. Mermaid Princess Doll. A mermaid doll, what a proud and pure creature. Diana yearned to become a beautiful lady like a mermaid. But as she grew older, she realized she was straying further and further from her ideal self. Poor Diana, she was trapped by her own ideals.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another one of those statements that kept me thinking that they grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, since I didn't actually go over this cutscene, it's with, basically I'll just do everything after the fight with the mermaid boss. The mermaid princess writhes in pain as the final blow is administered. The rope snaps. The mermaid princess reverts to the form of a doll and falls to the ground. The doll's upper portion is of that of a normal doll, but the bottom half is that of an actual fish. Bound to the doll portion by a rope, the fish's head has been severed. Jennifer picks up the mermaid doll and Dr. Hoffman enters the room speaking to Diana. What in blazes? Just who did this? Who made this mess? Diana starts crying. Hoffman places his hand on top of her head and kneels down to her. Was it you? He rubs Diana's head. Go on, tell me. He holds her shoulders. Diana, answer me. He positions himself in front of her and rubs her arm. No new mummy or daddy will ever want you if you look like that. He continues to caress her. Now, don't be angry. I won't be angry. Just answer me. It was you, wasn't it? You were in charge after all. So technically, Hoffman puts Diana in charge of the children.
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, because she sort of is one of the oldest, besides, Clara. But she totally just doesn't want to answer him, and whenever he leaves the room, she stops crying, she brushes herself off with her hands, she's like, ew, I feel so disgusted. Like if you've been touched by someone, you're like, ew. So that's basically what she does, and she goes, yuck, how disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the rest of it goes, now I see, it was you. It was all your fault that I got into trouble. Give it here. She snatches the mermaid princess doll from Jennifer and tosses it into the empty aquarium. She dips a rag in the water and approaches Jennifer. Oh my, I see a stain. You've got to clean it up or Mr. Hoffman will be angry with you. Jennifer backs up and trips over something. Diana falls over her as she goes to clean Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Again, I have a theory that the whole killing the fish and stuff was Wendy.
Actually, yeah, it could have been orchestrated by Wendy.
Because Diana doesn't seem to know anything about it.
She doesn't know anything about it, but Meg and Eleanor do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it goes,
yeah,
the beginning of the chapter. It's where, Rats the fish is gone. Mr. Hoffman will be... oh, hold on. That's actually not Meg who's talking with that. Diana will be quite upset. Don't you think it was too much? We had to do it. Besides, there's no such thing as mermaids. Don't you agree, Meg? You're right. That was the only thing we could do. So it's probably done by them, but it was probably orchestrated by Wendy.
Now I think we should move on to the enemies a bit. Not very long. But I want to point out mainly one particular thing. In the cell of bliss, they have the imp doll surrounding the teddy bear thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, the spooky things, the scary creatures that everyone talked about. They'll come in clean if you don't, sweeping bad children away like dust. Well, they actually came and attacked me. I knew what they really were, but that wasn't the problem. The real problem was my weak heart. My weakness was what drew them here.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that more or less kind of makes it seem like she hallucinated them. And I remember she mentioned it, that they weren't real.
Yeah, she mentions that they weren't real. She actually does that in Dr. Hoffman's diary at one point where she comments, at the time it seemed so frightening. Were those scary things that attacked me just figments of my imagination?
Yep. And so it's more than likely possible that they did not exist. That's actually the more likely case than them actually existing.
I have a question. Did you read The Aquarium?
Yeah.
I don't think you did.
Oh, not right now, no, but I've read it.
Oh, well, The Aquarium, it says, I know you're in a very stinky place because that rag Diana put in my face smelled just awful. But no matter how clever or fast you are, there's no escaping. You're like a mermaid in captivity, adapting to a new reality, leaving your home behind. Did you find happiness? She's speaking to the fish, but it mentions Diana, so it's basically going back to the whole mermaid chapter.
Yeah. I think we're done with that. So, yeah, Brown.
Yes, Brown.
We love Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Brown is the best dog ever next to Repeat and Pascal, but that's not the point. Let's continue onwards.
So, before we do storyline stuff, I think we should discuss actual gameplay of Brown, since he is one of the two quote-unquote usable characters.
What do you want to talk about gameplay-wise?
They definitely, were lazy with him, and they totally said, oh yeah, it's in the room, but it might not, the room might be barricaded on one side, yeah.
There's some programming issues with Brown. All that is programming issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't very well programmed, but he was obedient, so I'd still pick him over Huey.
Yeah, oh yeah, but we're not here to discuss that. But I have to say that the programmers could have programmed what door to